Yeah, every time I get a new vehicle, I'll wash it with like Dawn dish soap or some kind of Adams polishes stripper, and then I'll take some Chemical Guys Hydro Slick ceramic coating hyper wax, and all this is just like a gel wax, and I'll take a applicator pad like this, and then I go all around the truck. You can do, the paint, chrome, windows, whatever you want. And when I picked up this truck, the water it had like a smooth texture. It did not bead at all. But with this little rain out here, you can see it's beading up. And that's just one coat of the Chemical Guys Hyper Wax. If anybody out there that is tired of acid rain, you see all that inside that glass right there? You'll see it here, and then on this side. See all that? That's acid rain on the glass. Well, I found out how to get rid of that. As you can see, there is no acid rain on this window. And I found the secret. Get some ultra fine steel wool and a bottle of the shit. I've almost got the big 3, or for me it's like the big 4. What I got right now is a battery ground to the body. So I ran it right here. The factory was like a 8 or 10 gauge, and it ran right here. That was broke off when I got the truck. So this is 0 gauge running underneath this fuse block, and then bolted right here, and wire wheeled the body, and then I put some electrical, what is it called? It's like liquid tape, yeah, and put that over the raw metal, and then I ran another negative off of the battery through here, and then ground on the alternator. And then what I gotta do next, so that's 2 wires. What I gotta do next is run a positive wire off of the alternator to a fuse block that I just ordered off of Amazon. I'm gonna set it right here, or on my Forerunner. That's where I put it, was right here. And then I run that, probably do like 120 amp, and then run it straight to the positive. But I need to get new terminals, and I've got to get a terminal for that wire. And then that's the fuse block wire. That's the alternator wire. And then this here, I reckon it goes to the alternator or it goes to the fuse block. I'm not too sure. So I'll wire from the positive lead of the alternator to the battery, and then I'm going to run another ground from the block of the motor to the actual frame. And I normally ground it right here to the frame. I'll take the paint off with a wire wheel and bolt it on, and then there's a bolt connected to the block right underneath the oil filter, and that's where I'll tap into that, run another wire, or I just leave it up there and just add another wire, but this time 0 gauge, and then run it directly to the frame. The truck didn't come with a skid plate for the front, so I had 2 skid plates in my scrap pile from other Toyotas that I've built, and this one was the best one out of shape out of the other one. It's got a real bad rust spot on, yes, right there, but I just wire wheeled it all, and then I painted it with some paint that I had. I was gonna do some like rose gold rims at one time, and I never did that because I didn't like the color, so I just used that paint on here, and it actually looks pretty good. It compares really well with the color of the truck, so I don't mind it. Alright, I got one more step done. I got the fuse block from Amazon. I like this one because it has the voltmeter on it. All you have to do is just, there's a little bitty, it's like a 22 gauge wire. I don't know if you can see it right here. And I'll just route it around, come underneath here, then ground it right here where the factory ground is. And then take the 0 gauge wire from Sky High, run it to the positive terminal of the battery, and then right now I just have a 120 amp fuse in there, and then out the other end I come down, follow the ground, come through here around the radiator reserve, come down, come through here, and then bolt it right up to the positive lead of the alternator. And all my wiring is Sky High car audio, and then the heat shrink is from Sky High. The copper lugs are from Sky High. Their lugs make it real easy when you strip the 0 gauge to slide through. You just gotta pinch it together and push it in, and then I just have a vise that will clamp it down. And then the heat shrink is so big that you can literally slide it right over the lug, and then just get your heat gun or blowtorch and heat shrink those on. I got those, I believe, off of eBay or Amazon, and they're probably about 2.5 to 3 inches long, so they cover the lug, half the lug, and then half the wire, so it does really good. I've never bought their Big 3 kit. I've always bought like 20 feet of their 0 gauge, 20 or 50 feet depending on the job, and then I just manually cut it myself and then do the install. But this thing here is really cool because if you have subs, or if you have a winch, or like a fridge in the rear, if you do like camping or overlanding, you can literally see your draw. Like you can see how much volts, like your volt drop. Normally with the Big 3 you won't ever really see a volt drop, which is exactly what I want and what I need. So yeah, if you have any questions of anything, just hit me up and I'll do my best to answer them. Appreciate it. came on this Tacoma when I got it. Just got a coil spacer on top. This shot looks like it, or strut looks like it's been replaced, but I've got Bilstein 5100s and then old man coils, and they are the 883s. So I'm gonna get the coil over out, take that bolt, take the 3 nuts off of the top, slide it out. Best way to do these is take the factory, what do you call it, jack, the little bitty brown jack, stick the bottom up top, down, and then push the upper control arm and spindle down. That way then you can lose the tension of the coil spring. And then you can get it out, and that's the way to put it back in. I've got some play coming from something in here, and I believe it's coming from a steering rack. So when I go side to side, it looks like it's the inner tie rod. So I'm gonna take this cotter pin, get the castle nut out, pop the tie rod out, loosen this nut, twist the outer out, take the boot off, and look and see how that inner looks. Alright guys, this is a video of why I preach, if you own a Toyota, use OEM parts, because I had a time and a half on this tie rod. This is the aftermarket tie rod right here. And as you can see, it's already completely shot. It's not even a few months old. And this ball joint is just gone. But this is a 22 millimeter, and if I'm not mistaken, the factory tie rods are 19 or 21, and I could not break this tie rod. Like, I couldn't get the joint out. I've got a tie rod puller that I stripped my threads with. That's how tight that ball joint was in there. It doesn't really fit the lower ball joint hole here, so that was a pain. All I'm doing is just a steering rack bushing replacement, but I had to take this driver's side tie rod out so I could get this rack back enough. So now I'm gonna have to replace the lower ball joints. That way then I know they're OEM, and then replace the outer tie rods for sure, and I might as well, as I'm at it, replace the inner tie rods too. Alright, we've got the tie rod off. This is the outer part of the tie rod. I haven't taken the boot off yet, but here's the inner. And as you can see, it's got clunking, and it's as loose as a noodle. Oh man, I haven't seen a worse inner tie rod than this. Look at that. It's just hanging in there. Hardly no grease at all. Okay, this is the inner tie rod that I just pulled off of my 01 Tacoma. This is an aftermarket one, you can tell, because right here is a bigger gap than what this is. This is a factory inner tie rod. This came off of a wrecked 1998 Tacoma. I don't know when this was replaced, but this is a factory Toyota OEM that's in my right hand, and it's still in great shape. See how the grease is still all packed inside? This has like orange, somebody put like orange fast hand cleaner in there. Got some inner tie rod jingle bells. But yep, I'm gonna put this one in there, see how it goes. I got the inner tie rod back in, got the boot back on. This is how the previous tie rod was. And this is how this one is. A whole lot better. Got the outer tie rod connected. Still need to torque it down and put the cotter pin in. But I'm gonna do the same thing that I did before. If you hear anything, it's probably in my chair. But she's fixed. Alright, so what I got today is I'm trying to fix the noise coming from the passenger side of this Tacoma, and it is the blower motor. When I turn on the air, has that aggravating sound. So went to the junkyard, picked up a Denso blower motor, got it all cleaned up. Still not perfectly clean, but a lot better than it was before. It wasn't even white, it was black. So, and this is the connector here with the blue and black wire. I've got to, this one here is an aftermarket one, and I've got to cut it and rewire the factory plug back in, and then I'll screw it back up and turn the air on and see if it makes a noise. Here's the aftermarket blower motor. This one is VDO, made in China. 08-2013. So this is a 8-year-old blower motor. This one is probably freaking over 20 years old. So let's see what it sounds like. As you can see right there, Tenzo, so it's a factory blower motor. Alright, got the plug installed, connected to the factory wiring, and then got it Tesla taped. Now it's ready to install the blower motor, put it in the 3 screws, plug it in, and try it out. Blower motor is installed. Now it's time for the test. Nope. Dang it. Okay, so back to the blower motor. I had these, this kick panel and then this trim. I had these 2 trim pieces out. That way then you can get to the blower motor, which is right there. This, I decided to just go with the aftermarket one off of Amazon. They're only about 30 to 45 bucks. So I bought one, and it was just a little bit too big, so I returned that one and ordered another one. And this one here fits, and installed it, put the plug in it, and it runs good. I'll let you see what it sounds like now. It's got a little bit of hum, but it's a lot better than the one that came in it when I bought the truck. So pretty pleased with that. Hopefully it will last me a good while. If not, they're not expensive. So, and I think the OEM part is about 250 bucks. I did test out the blower motor for the 4Runner because I got a Tacoma one and a 4Runner one from the junkyard. 4Runner one works completely fine, and I returned the one that I got for the Tacoma, and I only paid 35 bucks for the OEM one. So they gave me $38 or $39 back, including, you know, the tax that I paid for it. So got all that done. I do have, what I'm doing is everything that I'm taking basically off the truck, putting it in here. These go to the rear of my 4Runner. They're 2-inch spacers. I'm trying to sell those. But I've gotten Bilstein 5100s. I got the rear shocks installed. There's the tow mirrors, inner tie rod. I got a blower motor in there underneath the toolbox. This is the radio that I took apart to get the eject button out. The one that I got from the junkyard was broke. Everything works fine, as you can see in the video. The orange light glows up. Everything works fine. The CD player works fine. The tape player works fine. I did have to buy another tailgate handle. For some reason, the handle that I just bought this piece from the junkyard, and this part I just kept and then replaced this part. Well, I came back here one day and opened it up, and usually I just come up here and I grab it real quick and pull it down, but this time it caught, and because I was in a hurry, when I went like that, it broke. So I bought one off of Amazon. It only took one day of shipping. You just take out these Phillips screws. There's a bunch of them. You got 2, 4, 6, 8, then you got 2 and 2 there. So you just take all that off and then you're able to get to it. It's real easy. It's just 2 10mm bolts that hold on the handle. There's an outer tie rod, blower motor. Yeah, here's the handle here. What happened was this centerpiece broke because it's got teeth inside of it, and that's where it keeps the spring set to it, and then it's got a latch that comes up and you connect the cables here and here. But yeah, everything is fine. I'm gonna keep this, that way then I can still keep this part, because a lot of times they will break here or there on the handle. So I'll probably keep this one and not trash it. There's the Bilstein 5100s. I did go to my local muffler shop and got not true duals, but a Y pipe coming out to 4-inch tips. That's what I did on my old Tacoma. Right now I got the driver's side coil out. I've got 5100s and old man Emu 883 coils that I gotta fix up, and then probably gonna do some upper control arms. I gotta get some CV axles, and right now everything's good. You can look in my other videos of what I've replaced on this truck. But if I think of something else, I'll make another video on it. Here's the 5100s here. You take these OEME coils. These are like for heavyweight for the front. Let me turn this fan on. And you set the 5100s. These are adjustable. All they have is just a little pin in here that holds them in. And you take this off and you can slide it. It's got 4 positions. The lowest one is factory height, then it goes 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches, and then 2 inches. And you slide this coil cup back on it. Just kind of hard with one hand. And put it up there. But the top hat that came on the coils that I had, because the coils, they already have a spacer on it. It looks like Wheeler's off-road or something. So it looks like this right here. But all that's dry rotted. So I bought new top hats, and I bought lower coilover 19mm bolts too, because they were stripped out. So a lot of stuff going on. I'm ready to get it all done. I got rims and tires coming this week, so hopefully I can get off of these spares. See how dry rotted they are, but these tires are over 20 years old, so it's pretty expected. But I'm in this here. I'll see you next time.